I made a video last year about how the Chicago Bears were following the Detroit Lions rebuild path, or at least rebuilding in a similar fashion. Now, another comparison to what Ryan Poles has done is striking up conversations. The Houston Texans, who added two top 10 picks last year, CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, and were able to finish off their rebuild and not only make the playoffs, but win a playoff game during CJ's rookie season. The Bears, in a lot of ways, resemble last year's Houston Texans. They have a defensive head coach, they have a top young quarterback prospect, and have two top 10 pick rookies to boost the talent around them. The Texans had a similar situation last year, drafting both CJ Stroud and trading up for Will Anderson. They also drafted Tank Dell on day two. This led to them having a major breakout last year and going from worst to first in their division. I've already talked about the Bears' chances of doing that, but the Texans had 3 straight years of 4 wins or less before breaking out last year, going 4-12, 4-13, and 3-13-1 in their last 3 years before going 10-7 and making the playoffs with a rookie quarterback in 2023. Now the Bears are following a very similar path. While they have rebuilt more like the Detroit Lions and the Houston Texans, they have so much in common with last year's Texans team. A young roster, a defensive head coach, a highly touted rookie quarterback, and two rookies taken in the top 10. The biggest difference is the Texans drafted Will Anderson. They got a defensive end in the first round, and then this year they traded for Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. But they also drafted Tank Dell. The Bears did the opposite though, drafting Rome Odunze at wide receiver and trading for Montez Sweat at defensive end. I actually preferred Montez Sweat and Rome Odunze to Will Anderson and Stephon Diggs, but that's personal preference. All four are great players. But both teams have drastically upgraded their roster around their young quarterbacks. The Texans were able to make the playoffs in CJ Stroud's rookie season, and Ryan Poles then followed that blueprint and has actually surrounded Caleb Williams with more talent than CJ Stroud had in his rookie year. The biggest question for the Bears is our offensive line. The Texans did not have a great offensive line last year, but they were at least average and did a very respectable job pass blocking. They were actually a better pass blocking unit than they were run blocking, which is pretty rare in the NFL. The Bears O-line, meanwhile, has a lot of upside and honestly just needs to stay healthy to be a huge improvement from the last couple of years. I still don't know if we found the right 5 guys going forward, but I believe we should have a combination of 5 guys that are better than what we've seen on the field in a while. But it's clear when you look at what Ryan Poles has done as the general manager of the Bears that he is following blueprints for success. You can compare it to the Detroit Lions or the Houston Texans, and even sprinkle in some things from the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs. But no matter what way you paint the picture, he's done a magnificent job leading this franchise and turning things around. Both the Lions and Texans had 2 first-round picks last season, and both teams made the playoffs. The Texans went from worst to first in 2023, while the Lions were just 2 years removed from finishing last in the NFC North themselves. Both of those franchises went from two of the worst teams in the NFL to now potentially vying to become perennial playoff contenders or even compete for Super Bowls. The Bears are following that same trajectory and have an even more loaded offense heading into 2024. Ryan Poles is building this team the right way. It's time to get excited for this team's future. We just need a little bit of luck. Let me get an FGB in the comments if you guys are excited. Thanks to everyone who watches. Please remember to hit the like button for me. And until next time, bear down.